Hello, it is me, Angela, back with another episode of Fandom Files. This week, the fandom I will be talking about is the Hamilton Fandom. Now, the Hamilton Fandom is pretty wild. I mean, what do you expect for a fandom of a musical about founding fathers? But like overall the fandom is pretty diverse in like why people are there. Like there are people like there's an even number of people there to just like chill. There's an even number of people there to like deep dive into the musical. There's an even number of people there for like the plot, even number of people there for the music, even number of people there for like the settings, even number of people there for the actors, even number of people there for like artworks and fan works and like the type of fan works and artworks too. Like there's an even number of like fanfic writers and art and like fan art people. And I just think it's overall like pretty like diverse in why people are there. And like but like even though it's diverse, unlike the Cats fandom, I feel like the Hamilton fandom is pretty argumentative. Like it argues about a lot of things. Um Mainly ships, but there are a lot of things it argues about outside of that. And what I mean by ships is that there have been like quite a few shipping wars, and there have just been quite a few ships that like people haven't liked, and there are quite a few weird ships. The most famous shipping war in the not famous, but the most like the biggest shipping war in the shipping war is when like a bunch of people take sides between like two pairings between like characters in anything, and like both people who ship the both sides are very like adamant. Like if someone ships, okay, let's say there are two characters and people ship them, and then there are another two characters and people ship them. People who will ship the first two characters would be very adamant about people like about disliking the second ship on anything related to the second ship and vice versa. And usually that is because it could be like a love triangle or like a not canon love triangle where it's just like popular not canon ships for one character. Anyway, yeah, the Hamilton fandom has a lot of that. The like biggest one being between Hamliza and Lambs. Lambs is the pairing of John Lawrence and Alexander Hamilton, which came out of the fact that someone looked at some history and found out they were pretty close. And Hamliza is him and his wife. Um, and you know, it's a cute couple in the musical, and yeah, those ships were just like at each other's throats for a while until the entire fandom was just all like, "Can this stop?" And they just stopped. Another ship war that happened, and I feel like I need to tell you about. It's just a weird shipping war, but I feel like I need to tell you about it because like it is very interesting. Is the ship war between Hamber and Jamilton, and the reason why I find it interesting is that the reason the ships hated each other is because like the characters that are being shipped in each of the respective ships also hate each other a lot, and they were like, no, you're like, you can't ship those two. The characters hate each other. It's all like, first of all, they don't absolutely hate each other. They have an amount of respect for each other. And second of all, one of your characters killed the other. And they were like, whoa, whoa, whoa. They were friends first. And everyone was just watching. And they were like, can y'all chill? And the fandom just chilled, I guess. Yeah, that's how 90% of ship wars stopped. The entire fandom just going, can y'all chill? Anyway, I feel like another important thing about this fandom is how much it talks about itself. Like, literally anytime someone mentions anything like Hamilton related, the Hamilton fandoms will be like, I came as soon as I heard. Because, I mean, hearing your fandom, like, called out is great. But, like, that isn't the only instance. Like, they don't stop talking about, like, themselves. Like, they just go on and on. And it's become kind of like a meme within the theater community and a lot of, like, normal fandoms. Where it's like, anytime someone talks about Hamilton, like, they're just gonna be like, oh no, I've called the cult. And, it's kind of funny. There are some people who are like gush about Hamilton, don't stop talking about it, who think it's funny. There are people who gush about it and talk about it and don't think it's funny, and then you have people who like don't care, and then there's people who think it's funny, and there's people who are like tired of the joke. But like overall, the Hamilton fandom just talks about Hamilton a lot, like a lot. Like if they hear like a sliver of it, or if they think something is a reference to it, they will talk about it to the ends of the earth. They will gush about it to the ends of the earth. Now I mentioned earlier the fandom. Oh, and another thing I mentioned earlier about the fandom, like talking about its artworks and stuff. A pretty big part of the fandom is the animatics, or like in the early days of the fandom, were like the animatics. And the reason why I feel like the need to explain this is because the Hamilton fandom kind of kicked off the trend with well-known musicals having animatics, which I feel like kind of like rebirthed the musical fandom. Like it made it like popular. I feel like Hamilton like put the musical theater fandom as like a proper fandom in like the modern era, because like I know there were times back then where it was like there were a lot of fans and a lot of people liked it, but like I feel like it wasn't popular when the internet came to be. But Hamilton kind of made it popular enough so that it could have like a proper fandom on the internet. I was going to talk about animatics, and the reason why I feel like I need to talk about this is because like they were a large part of the fandom. They were like favorite, like people would have their favorite like animatic people, like animatic drawers. The two most famous are Galactabun and Sizin. I think that's how you say that one. Um and well, those two really don't animate anymore because they do other things. Like Galacta, but I don't think really animates anymore because like she was pretty young, and being a famous like basically animator on YouTube is pretty stressful. So she just like stopped like uploading. And then you got Zin. Her run as like an animatic creator was pretty chill and drama free compared to Galactabun's. I don't really want to get into Galactabun because it's a little too complicated for this podcast, but maybe I could get into another episode. Who knows? But Suzanne is pretty like her deal of being like the like most famous animatic creator for Hamilton was pretty chill, but she just like stopped for like doing animatics for Hamilton and like started doing animatics for like her other project. Um, and like overall, I feel like this fandom has a pretty interesting history when it comes to theater, because in my mind I feel like it is the thing that basically that gave theater a proper fandom. And like before you could say like it could have been like Les Mis or Phantom, the thing with Les Mis and Phantom is that they didn't have like other fandoms or like other musical theater fandoms follow it. So I don't consider them the like establishers of proper musical theater fandom, because like Hamilton was dragged along by like Hamilton fans were also fans of Heathers, Be More Chill, and Dear Evan Hansen, which everyone calls like the big four. And I feel like that did like the fact that like you would get into four musicals and then the musical fans would be like, but you need to get into more. I feel like that pressure, while it's like toxic and bad, caused by accident like the musical theater to have a proper fandom. And that is the episode.